Hey, how you doing? Here we are in Photoshop. We said we was going to show you the new gradient tool. So if you go over to Photoshop, you'll see that if I want to make a gradient, let's find our gradient tool, which is right here. We say gradient tool. We'll click on that. Now, if you come up here to the top left corner, you can see you can still pick the classic gradient tool, or the new one will be checked by default in the latest version of Photoshop. So I'm going to stay on this gradient because we don't want the classic, because the new gradient, have some new toys in here that we can play around with. So what I want to do is, we have our gradient tool. So now I'm going to go here and I'm going to create a gradient. So as you can see, I've created a diamond gradient. Now, these are all your gradient parameters right here at the top. So that's the diamond shape. I could just change that. By default, it's going to change to whatever I want it to change to. So the one I want to show you the most is our elliptical gradient, because this is where you can mostly see where these colors, so this is our main color. So if I double click that and want to change that color, just say I want to change the blue, I could change it to blue. So you see we have another color here in the middle, which is our green. So that's basically our main gradient. So I want to change to yellow. So each color, as you see, has something that it does. So if I want to change that orange color, so let's just use a teal. So this one, as you see, change the teal. The next one change the yellow, and the outer one change the main blue. So these are just some of the basic parameters of what you can do with the new gradient tool. So if you had a subject in here and you want to change the background and do the things, expand, that's how I would expand. You see I can turn that around. So if I was in a different type of gradient and wanted a different type of effect, I could turn it around. Now, here's the cool thing. As you see, we have our color scheme on the gradient line. So if you wanted how to add colors to that, you might most likely would think that you click on the line and click on the line to get a gradient. But what you do is you come down here to your gradient, double click that, and then do like you do in your classic gradient, because now we have a gradient field. So when I click that, now I can add another gradient or another gradient or another gradient color. So let's just add that red so we can see what we're doing. And this one, let's add, what should we add? Let's just add green. So now we got our green. So as you see, we added some colors. Now, if you wanted transparency out of all of these colors that we added to the gradient, you would click on this top right here. I would click on there, and then I could get my transparency as far as anything that I wanted to use transparency on. So if I had a background in there or something and want to use transparency, that would be the one to use it with. Now, you see all those colors I added is on the line. So I can adjust those colors as I see fit and play around with this gradient in all type of different ways. So as you see, we have our colors. We have our main color, like I said, is on the outer scale. So let's just change that so you can see it again. And then you have your main color on the middle, which is your gradient color, which is that teal, which we can play around with as we move that down the line, up the line. So it's just so many things you can do with gradient with this new gradient tool. So we're not gonna cover everything. We just want you to see the basics of some of the things that you can do with this gradient tool. So that's pretty much it. So you can put your subjects in, you can have your selections. You might want to select a photo, use an inverse, change the background into a gradient, play around with it. It's just so many things you could do. So we just want you to see those basic tools that's now available with your new gradient tool in Photoshop. Hey, I'm Dan Land Pro. That's it for the day. Till next time. Don't forget, youtube.com, Dan Land Pro. Hit that subscribe and that like button. To our next tutorial. Peace.